I don't suppose you ever saw a recurring segment on Conan O'Brien's TBS show called Dion Cole Breaks Down the News. In this segment, a really funny comedian called Dion Cole would deliver his take on a news story in the form of 3 bullet points while being trolleyed across the background. By the time he's about to disappear out of frame, he's usually boiled the story down to tell person X to shut the hell up. It's a fairly simple premise, and it can be applied to almost anything, especially a wrestler, or in this case Tony Khan, going off on social media. I can almost hear Dion saying, tell Bryan Danielson to find him for his tweets and tell him to shut the hell up. It's not as funny as anything Dion did, but the structure still fits. Rather than go on about Tony's tweeting habits, this got me thinking about the whole joke that's been going around lately about Bryan Danielson being able to fine wrestlers for their behaviour on social media. Now I don't know how true that is, but lately I've seen a lot less of certain wrestlers trading barbs with fans than I did a few weeks ago. It seems like Bryan himself is in on the joke, asking the fans on Twitter if he should fine Rocky Romero, who for years has worn an eye patch. According to Rocky on AEW's Unrestricted podcast, he was inspired by the rapper Slick Rick and saw a merch opportunity as no one else was making custom eye patches. When Rocky appeared on a match graphic wearing it, Bryan threatened jokingly, I assume, to fine him for wearing the eye patch, as a reference to Bryan actually needing one to wrestle in. It's not always clear because he's not the most public person these days, but Bryan, when talking in real life, seems to have a very dry, even sarcastic sense of humour. One example of this that's always stuck in my mind was his brief time running a YouTube channel in July and August of 2011. The channel still exists today under the name Mr. Bryan Danielson. Check a link to the description to watch for yourself. On this channel there are only 3 videos. The second 2 are a series he started and quickly dropped called Technique of the Week. In the first of these, Bryan and a trainer called Neil Melanson demonstrate how to apply a hammerlock, followed by Bryan doing this repeatedly to the tune of what he calls clown music. In the second video he does this again, this time with a guillotine, and to the tune of a ukulele song about vampires. It's worth noting though that at this time Bryan was wrestling on the SmackDown brand, where he was holding the Money in the Bank briefcase that he would eventually cash in to win his first WWE World title. His prominence on WWE TV might be why his YouTube series didn't last long, or it might have been the fact that he clearly wasn't taking it very seriously. What's more interesting though, is Bryan's first video. This is a 2-minute introduction to his channel, filmed vertically by the way, which is the nightmare of every YouTuber out there. In this video, Bryan noted that WWE has told their roster to use social media more. Presumably though, they would be referring to Tout, the platform they were relentlessly pushing on their TV around this time, which was essentially just Vine, but somehow worse. Bryan then goes on a whole rant about how he's going to use his new platform, repeatedly telling us he's going to bury people.
I'm going to bury people. I'm going to bury everybody.
He puts a great deal of emphasis on how he wants to bury people, repeating that he will bury everybody. I can't quite express his enthusiasm for wanting to bury people. He lists names like Shawn Michaels, who trained him, William Regal, who was an influence for him, and Colt Cabana, because it would be funny, among others. He does get his plugs in as well for his Facebook page and his website, which no longer exists. Thankfully though, we can see what it used to look like thanks to the Wayback Machine. From looking at the pages available, he seemed to use his site like a blog, offering details about what he was doing with his life, his training, and often continuing the sarcasm here as well. To be honest, there wasn't a whole lot to this video other than me wanting to show you a new side of Bryan Danielson, the side that buries people.
But you know what? The main point is, all of it's going to be burying people. We're just going to bury everybody.
It also came from being sick of people's takes on Tony Khan's tweets from this past week. So if you are too, this quick video was made for you. Thank you for watching yet another wrestling channel. If you enjoyed this, please comment, like or subscribe.